This is a guide to beating Calus, the final boss. The final boss at the end of the Leviathan Raid. Now you've got this far, pat yourself and the rest of your fire team on the back. You've done really well to get to this point. How do you beat the final boss? Well, I'm going to show you how me and my fire team did it. If we can do it, you can do it too. The first thing to do is split your fire team into 2 groups of 3, the throne room team and the shadow room team. Within each team you need a left, right and central player. You are now in Calus's throne room. To start the raid, shoot the cup out of Calus's hand. He will get very angry and send out all his minions to destroy you. Some enemies will have a shield, either solar, arc or void. This changes with each boss damage phase. Make sure you have a corresponding elemental weapon to deal with them quickly. You only have 1 res per player, and the throne room players tend to die the most. So if anybody dies, get the shadow realm players to use their reses first. Once you have defeated all the enemies, floating Zions will appear in bubbles above 4 platforms in the room. Each platform has a symbol on it, either dog, axe, sun or cup. These symbols will also appear above each corresponding Zion. Do not kill these Zions at this stage, as this will spawn powerful enemies later in the raid. Calus will clap his hands and the whole fire team will be transported to the Shadow Realm. Once in the Shadow Realm, there will be a barrier in front of you with 3 floating orbs behind it. The throne room team jump over the barrier and collect an orb each. The left throne room player takes the left orb, central player takes the central orb and right player takes the right orb. This is to avoid more than one player going for the same orb. This will transport them back into the throne room. The Shadow Realm team should now take up their positions, either left, right or centre. The transparent barrier will disappear and the players will be sucked towards the next barrier by Calus's giant floating head. I know it's a bit weird. Be careful to avoid the ramps and any holes as you are sucked forwards. It's the Shadow Realm team's job to call out the symbols that appear on the forehead of Calus. Each player will see a different symbol, either dog, cup, sun or axe. Call out the symbols one at a time, starting with the left player, then the middle and then the right player. This avoids people talking over the top of each other and call outs being missed. The throne room team need to listen for the 3 symbols being called out and take careful note of the symbol that was not called out and kill the Zion above the corresponding platform. I.e., if dog, axe and cup are called out, then the player must jump up onto the sun platform and melee the Zion in his bubble. This is the layout of the platforms in the throne room, with the cup and the sun platform nearest Calus. Listening for the 3 callouts and killing the correct Zion can be tricky when you're killing enemies and using cover to avoid Calus's attacks. To make things simple, the player on the left of the throne room should look after the cup and axe platform, and the player on the right should look after the sun and dog platform. If the player on the left hears cup and axe called out, they know they don't need to melee a Zion. But if the player on the right only hears sun called out, they know they need to kill the dog Zion, and they're already on the correct side so they can melee it quickly. The central throne room player just floats around killing enemies where needed. Each time the Shadow Realm team progresses from barrier to barrier, 3 Zions will appear on the floor, 1 in front of each player. Each player should kill their corresponding Zion as quickly as possible, as their attacks can propel you up into the air and into Calus's mouth. Never nice. Once the next barrier is up, you can jump over the existing barrier to get to it quicker. You are then in position to call out your symbol and start shooting your Zion as it spawns in. Some Zions spawn behind ramps and can be tricky to kill, so use grenades and even shoot rockets behind the ramps to deal with them quickly. Also look to the side and see if your teammates need help. 2 more Zions will appear in floating bubbles, 1 on the left and 1 on the right. Make sure you kill these before moving on to the next barrier. Eventually you will get to the floating head and it will start spitting out skulls. Group together and start shooting the skulls. Warlocks should put down an empowerment rift to give you a damage buff, and Titans can use a rally barricade so players can reload quicker. The more skulls you kill, the bigger the damage buff you will get against Calus in the damage phase. This is critical to taking down Calus quickly. The damage buff is called Force of Will, and you can see this on the left of the screen. At this point, Calus will throw up a shield in the throne room. Shoot Calus to get it down to almost nothing, and then wait until the screen gets very bright before shooting him again to finally remove the shield. If you leave it too long, the screen will go completely white and everybody will die. You don't want to take the shield down too quickly, as you want to give the guys in the Shadow Realm as much time as possible to shoot skulls. As players shoot his shield down, they will take damage, so have a Warlock put down a healing rift so players on low health can attack the shield without fear of dying. Once Calus' shield is down, he will do an area attack, so get ready to split up and move. At this point, floating orbs will then appear in the Shadow Realm, allowing the Shadow Realm players to return to the throne room. Each of the 4 platforms in the throne room will now be glowing white, indicating that if players stand on them and shoot Calus, they can do damage. Each platform can only be activated once and for a set period of time. Everyone group up on the dog platform, as this is easy to reach, and start shooting Calus in the head. He will raise up one of his arms to attack the players. This is the cue to jump to the next platform and start doing more damage. If you manage to stagger Calus twice, he will fall to his knees and bits will fall off of him. Wait until he's back on his feet before moving on to the next platform. Once his red chest part is exposed, this becomes his new crit spot, so shoot him there. If you manage to use all 4 platforms, then congratulations, you have successfully completed your first damage phase. Now rinse and repeat. There will be a lot more enemies spawning at the start of the second phase, so use your supers to avoid being overrun. Once you get Calus down to 1% of his health, he will take a last stand and throw up a shield. Don't let him kill you at this stage, give him everything you have. Rockets, grenades, supers, let him have it. You don't want to take more than 3 damage phases to kill Calus. If you get taken to a 4th damage phase, things get a bit tricky, as Colossuses will spawn. Also, Calus will attack the first platform you jump on immediately, so effectively you only get 3 platforms with which to do damage to Calus. If you have 2 really good throne room players, you can leave 4 players in the Shadow Realm. This is a risky strategy, but it does allow you to kill more skulls and get a large damage buff. Some teams can actually take Calus down in only 2 phases. Big shout out to my clan, the Z team, great job guys, and to KJC for his help and advice. Now, as you've seen, there's a lot of mechanics to this raid. People really have to work together and learn their different roles. But once you do that, once everyone does get comfortable with what they're supposed to be doing and when they're supposed to be doing it, it all sort of falls together and you're like a well-oiled machine and you start doing more and more damage with each damage phase, and that's when you really start believing, yes, we can actually do this, and then before you know it, you've killed him and you've got it done. If you found this guide helpful, then please click the thumbs up and see you next time. Goodbye.